Chapter 8. Everybody Loves Melvin. When it was all over, the Turbo Toilet 2000 was dead, and Melvin Sneedly was a hero. The mayor had a big parade in honor of Melvin. Weird Al Yankovic wrote a song about him. Even the vice president sent a letter of congratulations. Melvin Sneedly was known throughout the world as the little superpowered tattletale who saved the world. Finally, said Melvin, I'm getting the respect I deserve. Chapter 9. With great power comes a great big pain in the high knee. Melvin enjoyed being a superhero. At first, it was fun stopping runaway trains, rescuing lost children, and saving people from burning buildings. Whenever anybody needed help, all they had to do was lift their heads to the sky and cry out, Yo, Big Melvin. And Big Melvin would would drop whatever he was doing and zip to the scene and save the day. It was all good at first until it started to get bad. You see, after a while, people started to abuse the system. They started crying out, Yo, Big Melvin, all the time. And it got old pretty quick. Melvin would drop everything, throw on his cape, and fly out the window, zip, through the city and arrive at the scene, only to find out that it wasn't an emergency at all. Usually, it was just someone who had misplaced her cell phone, or a kid who needed help with a video game cheat code, or some guy who had accidentally dropped his wallet in the toilet. It was a complete waste of Melvin's time. And the interpretation, I'm sorry, and the interruptions were beginning to drive him crazy. But the final straw came one evening as Melvin was doing a synchrotron radiation experiment with his homemade isolating field particle accelerator. 11 months of research were finally about to pay off. The klystrons and electromagnets began to accelerate. The hardens faster and faster through Melvin's homemade copper cyclone tubing. Soon, Melvin would be the first person on Earth to definitively prove the Higgs boson's existence and solve the mystery of everything. But then, with a supersonic eardrums, but with his supersonic eardrums, Melvin heard a cry for help from across the city. Quickly, Melvin shut down his experiment, which caused the particle accelerator to overheat. The resulting explosion blew a hole in his bedroom floor 40 feet deep. But Melvin didn't care. Somewhere in the city, a citizen needed his help. So he grabbed his smoldering cape from the pile of ashes that used to be his bedroom closet and flew to the scene of the emergency. When he arrived, he found a middle-aged woman screaming frantically out her apartment window. Yo, Big Melvin, help! Help! It's an emergency. What's wrong? Melvin asked desperately. Do these pants make me look fat? Asked the lady. Okay. Chapter 10. It's a mad Melvin. Melvin was angry, very, very angry. Since he'd become a superhero, he'd had no time to do his experiments. He'd had no time off, no sleep, no privacy, no time for anything. At that moment, Melvin made a decision. He decided for his own sanity to quit the superhero business once and for all. But getting out was going to be a lot harder than it was getting in. Melvin needed to find a superhero to replace him. So he made up his mind to locate Captain Underpants, bringing him back to Piquet and let him deal with all the hassles of superherodom. Finally, Captain Underpants, I'm sorry, finding Captain Underpants, it turns out, wasn't as hard as Melvin had expected. Melvin knew that George and Harold were usually with Captain Underpants, and Sulu, the bionic hamster, was usually with George and Harold. So Melvin concluded, if I find Sulu, I should find Captain Underpants. Since Melvin had installed a GPS on Sulu's robotic endo, endoskeleton, all Melvin had to do was run a simple scan on his computer for the GPS device. At first, the scan found nothing, so Melvin broadened his search to include all locations, and all times. Finally, Melvin's search paid off. He found Sulu's last satellite reported location, down by the schoolyard, 39 years in the future. That wasn't too hard, Melvin sneered, but bringing them all back to the present would be a little more complicated. The end.